5 props in 60 seconds. In this video, I have 5 plays, including a parlay for NFL Sunday, and then I have 60 seconds for each of them to try to convince you guys to bet them. Super fast-paced, super fun, and hopefully super profitable. That's the main goal at the end of the video. On Thursday, we had a pretty good day, 3-1. I recapped all the winners in a previous video. Pretty solid day. Let's try to make this Sunday another winning one. Let's sweep the board. Why not? If you are new, do me a favor, like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our NFL videos, because we already posted one earlier on Saturday, and that includes 3 other plays, includes my anytime touchdown parlay, which we've hit 2 straight, trying to go for a 3rd straight. That includes a lot of cool content over there. So I encourage you to check that out after this video. I'll link it down below in the pinned comment, and I'll also put a quick link for you to just click on the screen at the end of this video to take you right there. But let's dive into the picks. My last note, Underdog Fantasy. You guys know we love Underdog. They're one of our partners here. If you sign up using my code COS, they'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. It's like a 50% match. Pretty cool offer. They'll also give you this Jalen Hurts free square for him to get 1 yard. You think he's getting 1 yard? Yeah, probably. So definitely make sure you use code COS or the link at the top of the description. Now, like I said, this video is a little bit unique. In this video, I have 5 props, 5 plays, 60 seconds, each of them. So I'm going to read off the play. I'm not going to start the timer then. Read off the play, tell you where I'd, if it's a yards line, tell you where I would play it to. And then we have 60 seconds to try to convince you to play it. Let's dive into the first play. Dak Prescott, the guy on the thumbnail, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 125 on Bet365. I'd play this to about minus 140. But obviously, there really is no other pivots. It's 1.5. The line's not going up to 2.5. So let's dive in. Start my timer now. Dak Prescott, so far this season, he has 2 passing touchdowns in 4 of his last 5 games. So pretty good recently. 4 straight quarterbacks have 2 or more passing touchdowns versus the Atlanta Falcons, a defense that's been struggling. Mayfield, Baker, that is, did it twice. Andy Dalton and Geno Smith. So they've been really poor. Also, we know this Dallas Cowboys offense isn't great. Sometimes, but can they run the football? Not really. They're in a dome, so I'm not worried about weather. And I think they'll be able to put up some points here, and I think it comes via Dak's arm. In the Cowboys, their team total is set to about 23.5 or 24.5, 20-plus points for them, minus 270. Since the start of last year, they've scored 20 or more points in 21 games. Dak has 2 passing touchdowns in 17 of those 21. So that is why I like Dak Prescott's over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think he gets his 2. If he wants to go get 3, I'll allow it. Hopefully that's a high-scoring game. Should be a fun one, the highest total on the board in Atlanta. My second play is going to be another QB play. Different market. It's going to be Bo Nix of the Denver Broncos, over 33.5 passing attempts, minus 105 on DraftKings. I'm playing this for 1 unit. I don't think this goes to 34.5, so it should be fine. There was a 32.5, but it was like minus 140. I'm not laying minus 140 on a pass attempts line. If he ends with 33, GG, and I'll live with it. Let's start my timer. This season, the Ravens have been a really tough defense. That's who the Denver Broncos will face. The Ravens, second fewest rushing yards per game, then second fewest rushing yards per attempt to RBs. This is the Broncos offense. It's struggled to run the football unless they get an A++ matchup. They're going to have to throw it. The Ravens have also allowed the second most pass attempts and the second most completions and the most yards. So again, secondary that's forcing you to throw it because they stop the run but can't stop anything else. The Ravens, and you've seen the QB pass attempts. I have them all on the screen. The only 2 players that did not hit this over, one was Pat Mahomes, and then one was Josh Allen. His team lost by, 25? Bo Nix is over this line in 4 of 8 games. He's had 25 or more attempts in every single game this season. His under saw a rainy game in New York where he threw for 60 yards, 2 blowout wins, and then one he ended with 33, which would be tough. I did look at his passing yards, but last week he completed 76% of his passes. I feel like this could be a spot where maybe he's not as efficient, but I also like that Denver's defense has been really good. They should be able to get him the ball back. They should lose this game probably, and so I like this good spot for Bo Nix. Just pass attempts. As I said, you can take the pass yards. Completions maybe, but I think this is an inefficient game. So I rather the attempts at 33.5. I don't think they'll have much success running. So Bo Nix, 33.5 pass attempts. Might have went over the time. I don't care. I like Bo Nix over 33.5 pass attempts. If he goes over yards and not attempts, I'm going to be in shambles because I went back and forth on both of them. I always seem to pick the wrong one. So if you want to go to pass yards, I don't blame you. Let's move it to another play. This is going to be a little bit of a small ladder. Ladder might trigger some people because of what, if you know, you know. Here we go. James Conner, over 65.5 rushing yards, minus 120 on Fanatics. And I'm also putting a little quarter unit, just a quarter, on 90-plus rushing yards at plus 250 on ESPN Bet. Anybody like, Austin, why are you doing 90-plus, not 100-plus? Well, maybe because I'm a weenie. No, honestly, the 90 plus wasn't a much different odds compared to what ESPN bet. I don't even think they had a 100 plus yard line when I was looking. You can take the 100 plus. I like it. I just want, rather than 90 plus, a plus 250. I'll take that for a quarter unit. If you're like, Austin, I'm just on a regular, daily fantasy app like Underdog Fantasy, I can't really take the 100 plus. What do you like? The 65.5? How high would you play that? 72.5. Let's start with James Conner. We backed him once this season. He got 100 yards, and we took his over. That was a game they lost 42-14. This week, I love his match. Last week, not a great matchup, actually. Kyler Murray had a big day, 307 yards on 36 attempts. Conner got the usage, 20 rush attempts, 2.7 yards per carry, 53 yards. This, for whatever reason, Cardinals' offensive line refuses to block on the road. At home, they're much better, which is where they find themselves today. Against the Chicago defense, it's been elite. Chicago, lowest passer rating, 8th lowest yards per pass attempt. But on the flip side, they allow the 6th most rushing yards to RBs, the 4.7 yards per carry, which is up to 4.9 since week 4. Conner, this season, I put his rushing yards on the screen. Yes, had a couple bad games, but he's had a couple really good games. His 3 highest rushing yards game came at home when he had over 100 yards. I don't know why they refuse to block on the road, but he's been crushing it. 5 running backs with 10 or more attempts for Chicago. I pretty much all hit this line except for one guy that finished on the hook. I think this is a big spot for James Conner. So again, I like it. I know my time's out, but I have one last stat for you. Conner is over in 8 straight games with 10 or more rushing attempts at home since the start of 2023. He's had 90 plus yards in 6 of those 8, and he had 100 plus in 5 of 8. I don't know if the Bears or Cardinals win this game. The spread suggests it's close. Hopefully that means James Conner is grubbing and getting us 90 plus rushing yards. Again, I like his regular yardage line for 1 unit, a quarter unit on the 90 plus. Yeah, I can take him for 100 plus if you want to. You can take him to get in the end zone. He's not in my anytime touchdown parlay. I do think he gets into the end zone. My 4th play in this video will be a 2-leg parlay. Last week we had Devonta and Devonta. You know what I mean. 40 yards apiece. Took a miracle. Shout out Devontae Adams. This week we got 2 J's. Jalen Waddle and Josh Downs, both to record 40 receiving yards. This is a parlay, 2 legs, minus 110 on FanDuel. Now, before you go down below and comment, Austin, I don't have the ability to do this, or Austin, my book is too juiced. I can only take one or the other. What is this? Or who the heck is Josh Downs? Josh Downs plays for the Indianapolis Colts. Jalen Waddle plays for the Miami Dolphins. I like Waddle, but his line, that man always ends in the 40s to 50s. And his line's at 51.5. I wanted to take his regular over, but I could just see him ending with 43, and it would piss me off. So instead, I'll take him down to 40 plus, which I think he does get. Josh Downs, I think, is a surefire winner to get 40 plus receiving yards. I'll talk about why. Let's start with Waddle first. 40 receiving yards in 16 of his last 17 with Tua, all since the start of 2023. He's had 40 plus in 4 straight games versus Buffalo. So a matchup he's played pretty well in. Buffalo's pretty good at taking away the deep throws, which is typically going to Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle does run a lot of over the middle slant, crossing, drag routes, and stuff like that. I think that's where he's hit, and hopefully he can get a decent gain in there or 2. And I think they'll have to throw it a little bit here. They are 5.5 point dogs on the road. As for Josh Downs, he faces Minnesota. Minnesota's really struggled. 2nd most receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. You don't know who Josh Downs is? He's their slot receiver. And Joe Flacco loves the man. In 3 games with Joe Flacco at QB, 8 for 82, 9 for 69, and 7 for 66. He's his number 1 target. I anticipate he'll once again get a lot of targets in that slot role, especially because he's running a lot of short routes, and the Vikings love the blitz. So we'll be looking for a check down. And Josh Downs, while he's not, a 2-yard check down, he's out there to get some balls. So I like Josh Downs. I like him a lot. His line was just 61.5, and I feel like he could end in the high 50s to low 60s. So I felt like that line was properly set. I think he does easily get 40. Same for Jalen Waddle. So 40 apiece from both these two fellows, minus 110 on FanDuel, another parlay. And then my 5th and final play of the day might be my 2nd ever prop of this market, and it's a field goal prop. Austin Seibert, might have butchered that, of the Washington Commanders over 1.5 field goals made, plus 100 on ESPN bet. A half unit play. Just half unit, not as big as the other ones we've already talked about. A half unit here. Austin, why are you only doing a half unit? Well, because I have terrible luck on kicker props. While I do love this one, I know one of 2 things is probably going to happen. Number 1, the Commanders will become the best team in the world at getting in the red zone and scoring touchdowns. They'll just start grubbing touchdowns left and right every single time, 100% success rate on touchdowns. Or 2, they get stopped. Austin has to kick a field goal, and he shanks it. It's happened to me with Tyler Bass. It's only, I swear, I have terrible luck here. So if you're looking to avoid, I don't blame you. But I like him to go over 1.5 field goals. An Austin wouldn't hurt an Austin, right? Let's talk about him, and here's why. Seibert, hopefully that's how you pronounce his name, is 23 for 25 on field goals. He's been very good this season. Both of his misses came from 50 or more yards, so I'll allow that. He's 7 for 7 on field goals in week 2 against the Giants, who they once again faced this weekend. And he's had 2+ field goals in 5 of their last 6. So he's been really, really good at making those field goals and getting a lot of attempts. I mean, Jaden Daniels in this offense is cooking. They get down the field. Sometimes they aren't, it's turning into touchdowns, but hey, get down the field. Let's kick some field goals with Austin. Plus, it's a divisional game. So if this, and it's a Giants offense that low-key kind of stinks. The Giants also are allowing a touchdown in the red zone, 5th lowest rate. So they're letting teams get there, but they're stopping them. And that's what we want. 3 of the last 5 kickers to face them had 2 or more field goals. The Giants allow on average 2 field goals per game. And like I said, don't trust this Giants offense to go down there and start pouring on the points where the Commanders are down by 20 and dang, we got to start going for it on 4th down. No. So Austin Seibert, I probably butchered his name, over 1.5 field goals made, plus 100 on ESPN bet, just a half unit play, because when he goes out there and kicks 2 field goals and misses one of them, I don't want to lose 1 unit because that would piss me off. So I'll instead lose a half unit. But I really do like the play. I talked about why I think it's a good one. So those are my 5 picks in 60 seconds. Hopefully you're wagering and putting your own money on all of them. I love it. I think we just went 5-0. And like I said, there's a couple other videos live. The top one is my 4Ps video, parlays and player props. That includes a couple more props and my anytime touchdown parlay and another Lions SGP. If you know, you know. The bottom one down below is going to be our video. We talk about all the money line spreads, totals of the weekend. So if you're like, Austin, how do you feel about my team? Well, I'll talk about it in that video if I think they win or cover, or if I like the over or under. Have a great weekend. Good luck on your picks. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.